Good evening, everyone. It's been a minute. Welcome, welcome. It is Friday night. It is 7 p.m. That can only mean one thing. It is time once again for our weekly 1 hour live stream. Let's see who all we've got here this evening. What's up, Mark, Matt, Max, Steve, Karen, Wolf? We got a nice little crowd going on here. So, joining us, Wolf said, unlike last time, I am here. Well, I'm glad you're here, Wolf, because I've got something. I've been teasing you all week. I've got something I think you're going to be interested in. But first, joining us on the shelf this week, we have on the top, Old Reliable, RMS Olympic. On the middle shelf, we haven't seen her in a while, DD-661, the Pirate of the Pacific, USS Kidd. And, of course, right there, USS New Orleans, CA-32. And at the bottom, we have BB-39, the USS Arizona. Guys, how have you been the past couple of weeks? We took off last Friday because we had a little private event going on, so that's why I was not here last Friday. However, as you can see, we're back and we are going to get started with something very, very special. You ready? Here we go. Let's get into it. We're starting off looking at the big U, the SS United States. Why is that? Well, we have an update on the SS United States. And this is per their Facebook page. I'm going to read a post they made. So, important fundraising announcement. Since announcing our campaign, nearly 1,000 supporters from across the nation and around the world have donated to help save America's flagship. Today, we're thrilled to announce we have now raised more than $150,000 towards our $500,000 goal. In addition, if we succeed in securing a new temporary berth for the ship, an anonymous donor has committed an extraordinarily generous six-figure donation that would more than double our current funds raised. That is serious, guys. This combination of factors gives us renewed hope and energy as we continue forging full speed ahead with this challenging work. Our team speaks on a daily basis with pier owners and operators, port authority leaders, and political officials up and down the East Coast about potential temporary berths for the SS United States. Thank you for all your support, continued support, and passion for saving this soaring symbol of America. If you haven't supported yet, and they go ahead and give you, the link and all that for you to make a donation. So, if they can secure a temporary home, guys, they will get the funds they need to save the big U, at least temporarily. Matt said, "Did you read that the Navy used one of its own ships for missile practice?" No, Matt, I have not read that. If you want, share that in the Discord, and I'll take a look at it after the stream is over. Steve, I'm currently looking at making a mid-August trip to tour her, possibly. Yeah, so they did announce that they were doing tours on the Big U. I imagine it's it's going to be a pretty penny for you to do that. Steve, you got any details on that? Like how much does it cost to do that? Um, Transitioning. Let's see. Let me close that out. Guys, we're going to take a look at something else. $250 is the price to tour the Big U. And that's really not that bad if you think about it. And I'd always remember reading there were all these different legal reasons why they never did tours of the ship. I guess they figured out a way around that. And yeah, if you're in the area or you can make it there and you can afford it, by all means go tour the ship. They need that money. So again, fingers crossed. Wolf says USS Tarawa was sunk. I'm guessing that she was a sort of landing ship. Okay, so that must have been the ship that Matt was just saying about. They tested the missile test. Guys, we're gonna take a look at some photos here real quick. One of our subscribers, Milan, he has been working for quite a while now on converting a 1-700 Revell Titanic model into Britannic. You guys know I've been doing the same thing. Of course, he was much further along than I was, and he actually finished it. And we're going to take a look at his model that he converted here. Take a look at this, guys. This is Milan's HMHS Britannic. And look at the detail on that thing. I mean, he did a superb job. I'm going to zoom in more to the bow so we can see. He's got the custom decals. He painted the crosses on and the green stripe, which is basically what I did. Oh, Wolf, wow, that's sick. Max, wow. Mark, wow. Yeah, he did an amazing job, guys. He really did. And he actually, if you look here on the background, you could see he even printed out this picture of Britannic that he did in Photoshop, put it over the Titanic box art. Clips Films, Melbourne. Yes, custom box art. But yeah, look at the detail on this thing. And he sent me a bunch of pictures, so we're going to see it from a lot of different angles. There we go, like almost a level view. Now, this is one thing about Britannic we've been talking about. If you zoom in here, the sign here on Patroness of the Mediterranean. You guys will remember the background field is red in the game, but since the game came out, people have been saying that it was actually black and not red. So he printed up red and black, and he went with the black. Steve, wow, for 1-700, that's damn good. He did a great job on this. He really did. And by the way, he is, I've pretty much been following his lead on how to do this conversion. As you guys know, I have, like I said, I've been doing this conversion as well. Um, he was much further along than I was. That's why his is now complete. I would say mine is about roughly 50%. And I'm gonna show you guys what mine looks like a little later. Clips Films Melbourne. I checked your channel. You visit museum ships and build models. Yes, sir. That's one of the things we do here. The channel is all about traveling and history. Our live streams, we mostly focus on ships from history. Um, I've I've toured 7 different museum ships throughout the United States. I also visit regular museums as well. Today's video that came out was about the Mississippi Armed Forces Museum, which is at Camp Shelby, Mississippi. I visited the National Naval Aviation Museum in Pensacola a few weeks ago. Last weekend, I visited the National World War II Museum. There's going to be a video on that. It says you visited USS Alabama. She was a film star playing as different ships, and since USS Indianapolis 79th Memorial is days away. Now you got me thinking about the scene in Jaws. Max says, wow, the coal dust on her hull is a really nice detail. Yes, sir, it is. And now this is one thing, zooming in here, if you look here, the canvases on his lifeboats are painted gray. That's one thing I'm not going to be doing to my Britannic to keep it consistent with my Olympic and Titanic, because I did not do that on Olympic and Titanic. Steve, oh, check out the launch on the port aft davits. Yep, I do intend to put those on mine as well, Steve. And there's so many modifications. That's one thing I'm learning about Britannic is really how different she really was from her 2 sisters. And you don't know that just looking at it on the surface. You know, when you really get into it, it's mind-boggling how different she really was. Clips from Melbourne, Alabama played as USS Indianapolis 1991 TV film mission of the Sharks, which is a good one to watch as it has Jaws level. Nice. Alabama was also in a movie, I think it was Under Siege, where it was basically portraying Mighty Mo, if I remember correctly, USS Missouri. They have there's a thing on the ship about that. In 2016, Nick Cage film, well, it's bad because of bad acting, bad CGI ship. They mash up of Alabama and Indianapolis, which looks like a dumb version of USS Alaska battle cruiser. Huh. I've not seen that. Steve said, "Wasn't you weren't aware of the launches, Steve, on Britannic? Is that what you're referring to?" And I'm going to look at this for a sec, guys. You see the docking bridge right here, and I ended up doing the same thing that he did on my Britannic. On Olympic and Titanic, you can see the staircase right here. Well, on Olympic and Titanic, the staircase to the docking bridge is actually facing like aft. On Britannic, it was reversed where the staircase is facing forward. So what Milan and I both did was we cut the staircase off of the docking bridge that came with the kit and reattached it to the other side of the ship or of the docking bridge to make it more historically accurate. Clip says it's called Men of Courage. They got Tom Sizemore from Pearl Harbor, Private Ryan, and Black Hawk Down. Interesting. Nice. Have you ever seen Greyhound? That is an excellent movie involving another museum ship. One of our personal favorites here, USS Kidd. DD661, which you can see we've got a model of her right there. Moonzer, what is up, my friend? How are you doing this week? So they also got Star Wars voice actor Matt Lanter's, who voices Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars animated show The Clone Wars. Very nice. Matt Lanter's grandfather was on the Indianapolis. He survived the sinking of the ship and the shark attacks. Could you imagine the stories that guy had to tell? Jeez. Moonzer says, I will be in California tomorrow. You go and see the Queen Mary, right, Moonzer? Hey, Steve, have you been to the Iowa yet? Knows I'm going to keep hounding him until he goes to the Iowa. Now, here's a nice close-up of the bow section. What are the black ladders leading up to? You know, that's an interesting question, Matt. I've never actually thought about that. What are the ladders on the Olympic class liners leading up to, guys? That's an interesting question. I've never actually thought about that. Cliff says, I like Greyhound. Despite none of Fletcher's were around early 1942, they were commissioned months later. I want to say, if memory serves, Kid was commissioned in 43. Steve, I am heading down next week. I'll see Moonzer, and yes, I plan to see Iowa. Steve, we got to talk about that when after you make that trip. He says, wait, which ladders? He's asking, Steve, he's asking about the ladders here on both masts. You see the black ladders? Matt, the way you got up into the crow's nest right here on the Olympic class liners, there was, the forward mast was hollow, and it went all the way down into the ship, and you could, into C deck. There was an entrance and C deck inside the bow here, and that's how you would climb up and come out at the crow's nest. Yep, this was unique to Britannic. A compass platform on the roof of the bridge here. So he made that. Mark says they're just mast supports. Yes. So, okay, well, there you go. I just learned something. I always assumed they were ladders too, but I never actually wondered where they would go. Because, I mean, they certainly look like ladders. And if you look in, what is it, Honor and Glory, and you look at Patroness of the Mediterranean, they kind of look like ladders there too. And here we go. These are all of Milan's Olympic class liners. He's completed his collection. Of course, we've got Britannic here on the far right, or on my right. Then Titanic here in the center. And, of course, Old Reliable here on the left. Flip says, if USS Kidd plays as USS Johnson for the next movie, I like miniature model films while CGI as long as they have to make it good. James Cameron Titanic did use both miniature and CGI. And James Cameron, even in '97, I know people kind of mock the CGI that was used back then, but he used the best CGI he could use at the time. And he spared no expense on the actual models that he used of the ship in all of its various sizes. Marquis Olympic class Wolf, that's beautiful. He did a amazing job, guys. Steve says both masts were hollow, if I recall, and you accessed the running lamps. Here's another nice little close-up. It's kind of hard to see the names of the ships on Olympic and Titanic, but I mean, clearly you can see Britannic. That white and the black contrast each other perfectly. And if you look real good on this photo, guys, he's got Nomadic and the Traffic right there. Excuse me. So he's got the 3 Olympians and he's got their tenders. How's that for a collection, guys? I probably won't have the 2 tenders, but I'll have the 3 Olympians. So there it is. There is his Britannic. I'm hopeful that mine will come out half as good as his. So Milan, I know you're going to watch the replay of this. Bravo to you, sir. You did an amazing job on your ship. She looks absolutely incredible, and I'm looking forward to seeing what where are you going to go from here. What are you going to step? What's your next ship you're going to do? Steve, those are not mast supports. They are rope ladders to access the upper part of the mast, which had outside ladder rungs. Okay, so they are ladders. Clip says, I know Tora 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 was a good film, unlike Michael Bay version, but 2019 Midway movie. I liked that movie. That movie. I ain't saying it's a great movie, but I mean, it was certainly better than that Pearl Harbor movie that came out. The attack scene was an unnecessary. The film could have started aftermath of the attack. I had no issue with the attack being portrayed in that movie. The problem was even the attack scene itself kind of went on a bit long, which was a microcosm for the rest of the movie, because you could have cut about an hour and a half out of that movie, and it might have actually been better. So those are all Milan's photos, and we're gonna pivot over. We're going to take a look for a little bit at DD661 in action. By the way, speaking of the kid, there is no current news on the kid right now. She is still at the shipyard, just kind of hanging out, waiting for her turn to go into dry dock. Billy! It's Bill Keys. What's up, Billy? You streaming tonight, buddy? What you doing, Call of Duty? How's things been going? Guys, if you are into you're into gaming, you're into Call of Duty, check out my buddy Bill Keys on his channel on YouTube. If you go to my home page and you go down to the bottom, it says channels I like. Bill's channel is on there, so you can find it easy. Clip says Midway 2019 used Arizona models instead of separate class of battleships to save money on U.S. planes. Interesting. Bill says we are going fishing. Nice, nice. I've not been fishing in quite some time. Yeah, let me pull the kid up here now. And I know I've mentioned this before. So this is actually a model of the USS Sullivans that I converted to the kid. You can see I've got kid's hull number on there, 661. I've got the pirate, William Kidd, there on the stack. And it's the exact same one that appears on the ship. And she, what was I going to say? She will not look like this when she is done in dry dock, guys. She is going to be painted in a dazzle scheme. So she's going to look completely different from how she's looked for the past, 60 years or so. She's had dazzle paint before. I do not remember at what point she was switched over to this paint scheme, but it's been decades. Wolf, World of Warships did such a good job. Well, they do a lot of good job, a lot of great jobs on all of their models. I've got no complaint about that. One thing I would like for them to do, since Kid is a ship in the game and a premium ship in the game, they need to have the actual Jolly Roger flag. You can see Matt donated this footage to us for the Kid, and he's got you can see the red pirate flag there. But of course, we know the Kid flew the Jolly Roger, which was a black field with the white skull and crossbones. Clip says, when USS Sullivan's was salvaged, it reminds me of Pearl Harbor's ships raised out of water for salvage. Are you referring to when she partially sunk in the river and they fixed her? Aaron, how have you been, my friend? Hello, been hanging out here. Nice, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you with us. Uh, Aaron said I was talking to a girl. Hey, nothing wrong with that. It is Friday night. I could certainly understand if you wanted to go out on a date instead of hanging out with me, but I appreciate you being here all the same. So, guys, one thing I wanted to talk about for a minute while we're looking at this, and we were looking at the now that I've got Britannic on the brain, because we were looking at Milan's model. The question was presented to me about an hour or so before the stream. Someone asked me the question, why did Britannic have HMHS in front of its name, whereas her sisters had RMS in front of their name? So I thought I'd spend a second on that so we can talk about that. Who all knows what RMS stood for? What did the initials RMS stand for? As we know, the Olympians were not the only ships to have RMS in front of their name, but those are the ones we're talking about here for the discussion. Because when I saw that destroyer take on water, it was shocking. Absolutely. And that's why all these other ships are going into dry dock. Clips. Texas, which I did the dry dock tour for Texas. We all know New Jersey was there. Kid is currently at the shipyard waiting to go into dry dock. He says, no wonder destroyers were called tin cans back then, right? Bill, we need to donate to your college football. I'm going to get that game eventually. Matt says, RMS stood for Royal Mail Service. You're close, Matt. You got 2 out of the 3 words. Royal Mail ship is generally the accepted thing, although some people have said Royal Mail steamer. So RMS, what that meant, and RMS was a designation that can only be applied to British ships. RMS again stood for Royal Mail ship, and what that meant was if your ship secured a contract with the British Royal Mail to carry their mail, you could have the distinction of RMS in front of your ship's name. If you did not get that contract, you would simply be referred to as SS, like SS Titanic, SS Olympic. And SS really still applies to every single ship, even the ships that had RMS. So why is that? Well, SS back then stood for steamship, which every single one of those ships was steamships. So really, if you say RMS Titanic or SS Titanic, no matter which one you refer to her as, and that goes for any other ship that that was RMS, you would be correct calling it by SS or RMS. Now, like Nomadic, for example, was never had that contract. It was just a tender ship, so it was SS Nomadic. And again, it was only British ships. So Normandy was not a British ship. She would have been SS Normandy. You know, the big U, SS United States, so forth and so on. Let's see. Mark says. Mark notes MV motor vessel. The third and final Britannic was MV Britannic. But HMHS, this should be another easy one, guys. What did HMHS stand for? And see, Wolf says SS Normandy. Max says SS Rex. Yeah, because again, these were non-British ships, so they could not carry the RMS initials. I'm watching the kid kick some butt here too, by the way. Don't forget about that. So we're waiting to see who's going to tell us what did HMHS stand for. I mean, we all know this. Steve says, I'll remain quiet. Matt, you got 3 of them right, but there's 4 in there. There's 4 letters, HMHS. Aaron said it. His Majesty's Hospital Ship. That's what Britannic was. She was a hospital ship. So she got the designation, His Majesty's Hospital Ship. Now, there were other designations. As we know, Olympic served in the war. Olympic was not RMS Olympic in the war. She was known or had 3 different initials from RMS when Olympic served in the war. Mark says RMS Britannic. Yes, if Britannic had ever actually served her intended purpose, she would have been RMS Britannic, because she undoubtedly would have gotten the Royal Mail contract. Moonzer, RMS, Royal Mail Ship, HMHS stands for His Majesty's Hospital Ship, SS stands for Steamship. That is all correct, Moonzer. Let's see, Steve says Olympic was HMTS. Yeah, that's true. Although we kind of shorten it to HMT, His Majesty's Transport, because we know Olympic was a transport ship in the war. She was never a hospital ship. But Britannic was not the only ocean liner that was a hospital ship. There were other ships that we've talked about quite a bit on our live streams that were also HMHS. I'll give you a hint. Think Cunard. Let's see. Karen, did the HMHS ship ever have RMS in front of it? No, she did not. So World War I broke out while Britannic was still under construction. Britannic was supposed to be a cruise. Oh my God. She was supposed to be an ocean liner, just like Olympic and Titanic, but she was called into war service before she could ever serve as an ocean liner. So she was only ever HMHS Britannic. She never got to serve her intended purpose, which was to be an ocean liner. Mark, His Majesty Troop Ship, referring to Olympic. Yeah, I've never heard troop ship, but I mean, I guess that applies as well. Moonzer, RMS Olympic staircase was painted green, which a whole lot of people don't like. Yeah, you're talking about post World War I when they started trying to make her into that more Art Deco style, which I was personally not a fan of either. I think her original Edwardian style looked way better. Mark says Aquitania was a hospital ship. She most certainly was. There was another one as well, guys. There was another Cunard ship that was a hospital ship. Was there not? Was there another Cunard ship that was a hospital ship? Steve says, wasn't Olympic a hospital ship for a while? Not that I'm aware of, Steve. You can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Olympic was. There we go, Steve. Mauritania. RMS Mauritania was HMHS Mauritania for a while. So we had HMHS Mauritania, we had HMHS Aquitania. Now, those ships served multiple roles as well. They were not just hospital ships. And of course, Aquitania was the only one to ever serve in both World War I and World War II. But yep, those two. So really, you had three famous ships that were hospital ships in World War One. And it's a funny thing about Olympic and Britannic. One Olympian was the largest ship to be sunk in World War II. World War One. And one Olympian is the only merchant ship to sink an enemy vessel during World War One. What do you guys think Titanic would have been if she would have survived, the iceberg and made it into World War One? What do you think would have happened to Titanic in World War One? Would she have served as a hospital ship? Would she have served as a troop transport? Or do you think she would have been like Lusitania and continued as an ocean liner? Steve, Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic were referred to as TSS prior to being pressed into service. Steve, you're going to have to educate me on TSS. If I've heard that before, I do not remember what TSS stood for. I know it stands for Toyota. I know it stands for Toyota Sports Series. I know that much. Mark thinks she would have been like Lusitania. I'm guessing that's why you put Lusitania in the chat, Mark. You're saying Titanic would have continued as an ocean liner like Lusitania. Yeah, Mark, Olympic sank the Nantucket Lightship, but that was accidental. We're referring to World War I, where she was the only merchant ship to sink an enemy vessel. And she sunk a German U-boat. Steve said TSS stood for Triple Screw Steamship. Yeah, I want to say I've heard that before. I want to say I have heard that. Of course, it's one of those that you really don't use or hear a whole lot. Maybe that's why I'm not remembering it as well as I should. But yeah, I want to say I've heard that before. So okay. Steve says Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth were referred to as QSTS. You answered the question I was about to ask, Steve. If Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth were not referred to as RMS, what would they have been referred to? Let's just say hypothetically speaking, they would have never gotten the Royal Mail contracts. So Steve's saying they would have been quadruple screw turbine steamship. That's what Queen Mary and Queen Elizabeth would have been. Well, I'm learning all kind of new stuff today. So, guys, we are going to take a break here from the kid footage. I'm not going to stop the kid footage here because I've got something else I wanted to show you guys. Let's see. Wolf, are you around? You've been quiet. Wolf, are you still here? Looking for Wolf. Wolf, you still here? So, guys, I am about to start up a video, and I checked the audio before we went live. You guys should be able to hear the audio this week, unlike last week. I had some technical difficulties. It is kind of low. Okay, Wolf is here. Okay, good. So if you guys, it's going to start off as a little slideshow, and I am doing a voiceover. If you cannot hear me, um, you need to max out your volume or put some headphones on so you can hear it. Because I was told that it's really low, and then there's some music that kicks in that's going to get louder. I've tried everything I could to max it out as best I could. Unfortunately, it's still low. So if you guys want, I'll give you just a brief second. It's not a very long thing where I'm doing a voiceover, but you know, it's pretty cool. I put it together. I hoped you guys would like it. So I'm going to wait about like 30 seconds or so before I start this. And I'm going to look at, check chat and see if I missed anything. Mark thinks that Titanic would probably have been a HMT Titanic. Could you imagine that, guys? If we would have had HMT Titanic or HMS Titanic, or if we would have had HMT Lusitania or HMHS Lusitania. Always those what ifs. Those always interest me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit play on this. I hope you guys enjoy this. We've got something new to look at here. So okay, here we go.
December 7th, 1941. The date that still lives in infamy. On that day, USS Arizona and USS Oklahoma were permanently lost. However, not all ships were lost. Many were restored and made even better and re-entered service. This is one of them.
So there we have it. I got a new ship. Anyway, I was hoping Wolf would see that. I really wanted him to see that. There's Wolf. California! All caps. My beloved. BB-44 Wolf. I got her. So, story behind this. Wolf, not just any ship. And Wolf, I expect you to hit us with some BB-44 facts in the chat. And not just any ship. It's the California. Yes, sir, BB-44. And this is how the California appeared after World War II, as you saw in the little slideshow there. California was one of the ships at Pearl Harbor that she took on heavy damage from the Japanese attack at Pearl Harbor. She was salvaged. She was given a whole new lease on life. So she essentially looks completely different post Pearl Harbor than what she did prior to Pearl Harbor. Wolf, one of the best and most badass ships in the U.S. Navy to ever serve. Steve, huge change from her kaleidoscope mass. Huge change on everything, guys. Huge change. She was modified so much. It's insane how much this ship was modified. Wolf, one thing about her, she was the only battleship built on the West Coast. And she was a Tennessee class, was correct, Wolf? I'm fairly certain she was a Tennessee class. Now, we're gonna look. If we're gonna hopefully, if I remember right, I got some more shots of her where we're looking like straight on. She is a wide girl, guys. She is a wide girl, and We're going to get some great shots of her here. So I've always I've said this that she she has the hull of a dreadnought, but everything else about her, she looks more modern. She looks more like a South Dakota class or a North Carolina class after the refit. Then there we go. There, look at that. She's a wide girl. So she look superstructure wise, she looks more modern than she did. Obviously, prior to Pearl Harbor. Only you can only tell she's an older ship by looking at that dreadnoughtish looking hull of hers. Steve, was it done at Mare Island, Hunters Point? I do not know, Steve. Hopefully, Wolf can answer that for us. And yes, she is one of two Tennessee class battleships. Can anyone guess what the name of the other Tennessee class battleship was? Hint, hint, wink, wink. Uh, Yep, she is and she's fun to play as too. As far as in the game, I'm gonna tell you guys how I got her in the game. So Warships was doing this Independence Day series theme series of missions, and you had like these all these different missions there, and there were like levels of missions you had to go through in order to Mark, you got it. The name of the other Tennessee class battleship was USS Tennessee. Imagine that. While we're at it, can anybody tell me what was the name of the first Olympic class ship? What was the name of the first Fletcher class ship? Yeah, we could do this all night. So anyway, you had all these different missions, and you had to get you had to unlock certain things to reach the point of unlocking the California. If you had enough of all the in-game currency stuff that they have, and I'm not real money, like the in-game stuff you earned, you could actually get the ship for free. I was not able to do that. I did have to spend some real dollars to get her. Fortunately, though, I did not have to pay full price for this ship because the thing was, you did all these missions like level one, you did something, you unlocked something. Level two, and you got like in-game currency. Level two, you unlock something, you get in-game currency, and you keep on and on and on. And the seventh and final thing was you could purchase the California for 2,900 doubloons. Well, I needed some of the other in-game currency to progress to that level. And once I got to the level where I could purchase the California for the 2,900 doubloons, I was short by I think like 1,000 or something. So I went ahead. I spent real cash. All in all, after it was all said and done, I spent about $20 to get the show, which personally I was completely fine with. I've always said I got no problem paying for premium ships when they are a reasonable price. You know, 30 and $35 and $50, not happening. If you were to buy the California outright with cash, from their website, the California is $40. I'm not paying $40. $20 is my limit for any ship. That's why I don't have the kit because it's $35. Arizona, I think, is $30. Alabama is $50. And they've got some that cost almost $100. I'm not spending that kind of money on any in-game content. You can get a couple of new games for a freaking $100. I mean, seriously, not happening. Okay, so I've been rambling. I'm going to scroll back up here and catch up with the chat. Let's see. Let me see. Where did I leave off? Clips. You had 1942 model of USS New Orleans pre-fit bridge. Where's their model of 1930s version Indianapolis pre-fit? Yeah, I've seen some models of Indianapolis, and I Indianapolis is on my list of models that I'm eventually going to build. But I'm working on Britannic right now. I've got like three after Britannic that I've already bought, and I'm waiting to build. So I do want Indianapolis, but unfortunately, she's going to be further down the line. Will Indy look nice pre-refit? And referring to Callie, he says, I am so happy to see her on the stream. Oh, Wolf, I knew this was going to make you happy because I happen to know that BB 35, of course, USS Texas, is Wolf's favorite ship, and California here is his second favorite ship. I remember things. I try to anyway. I try as best I can. Clip says, I know there's third-party 3D print resin model of Portland's pre-refit. Interesting. Steve is asking, Wolf, was the rebuild done at Mare Island or Hunter's Point? He says he does not know. Clips, Trumpeter models were so close to complete for Battleship Row, they didn't get to make the... excuse me. I'm going to start that over. Trumpeter models were so close to complete for Battleship Row, they didn't get to make Nevada class. Instead, Trumpeter made other ships, which is a bit of a letdown. Yeah. They do have a model of California, though. I know Wolf has that model, and he's been working on it. Wolf, you got a status update? Have you messed with California at all lately? Mark, isn't it free on mobile? You mean World of Warships, Mark, or the California? I mean, I'm sure the game is free to play on mobile, but they probably have, premium ships that you have to pay for, just like here on PC. Moonzer's back. Oh, welcome back, Moonzer. Clips, it would be cool if Trumpeter made the USS Nevada and Oklahoma models someday. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would definitely buy those. And speaking of which, I said I've got a few more lined up after Britannic here. After Britannic, I'm kind of going back to warships. I've got three warships lined up, three battleships. I've got Texas, I've got Arizona, and I've got Alabama. Those are going to be the ships that I'm working on once I complete my model of Britannic. Wolf says, I fixed the piece that I messed up, so yes, I just haven't built yet. Mark says, yes, World of Warships. Yeah. Wolf says, Warships Blitz is on mobile, and he plays it. Yeah. And Wolf, like I was saying, I'm sure you can confirm this for us. The game is free to play, but you have premium ships that you have to pay for. And I'm going to imagine it's the same ones that that are premium ships on PC that you would have to pay for on mobile. Correct me if I am wrong on that. So. Oh yeah, sorry. I kind of got sidetracked here. I was looking at this shot. I'm about to fire. The thing about California, and I cracked this joke about California. You know how the joke about the person who goes into the restaurant and sits down. The waitress hands them the menu and they say yes. Well, when California walked into the shipyard for repairs, they handed her the list of guns available, and she said yes, because this ship is loaded to the max with guns. You can't look at the deck of this ship and not see a gun somewhere. Clips. I play a different naval game, War Thunder, but WoW's is more relaxed to play. I have War Thunder Clips, but I'm really not that good at it, and I find warships a bit more user friendly. So that's why I tend to play warships more. We'll suggest expensive premiums are still in the mobile version, but the game is free. And referring to the gun, says she's covered. Yes, from head to toe, this ship is covered with guns. I mean, there. Look at her, guys. It's just insane how many guns she's got. So, guys, we are approaching the 1 hour mark here. We are going to get ready to wrap this up soon. Max says, be right back. No worries, Max. Um, if you can stick around just for a few more minutes, because we're not going to be too much longer here. So, having seen the California, well, says, imagine if she was preserved. No kidding. And it would make sense, of course, if she was in California, if she was indeed preserved. Oh, one more thing I do want to mention about the SS United States, guys. This might ruffle some feathers, so be ready. I read an article. There's some place in Escambia County, Florida. And if you're not familiar with that, that is the county that Pensacola is in. There was an article last week about possibly, if the Big U isn't saved, towing her out there to somewhere located off the coast of Escambia County, again, which is where Pensacola, Florida is, and sinking her there and making an artificial reef out of her right there. And doing it in shallow enough water where you could dive to what would then be the wreck of the Big U. And I say wreck because in my mind, a sunken ship is just that. Whether it was accidentally sunk, intentionally sunk for the purposes of making an artificial reef, sunk is sunk. Let's hope the Conservancy, though, can continue barreling forward and saving the ship. But that thought just occurred to me, so I thought I would share that with you guys. Mark says, better than being scrapped. And there's a funny story, and I'm sure I've told this before, about the Mauritania, the original Mauritania, not the second Mauritania. The Mauritania we always talk about, Lusitania's sister. When it came time for Mauritania to be scrapped, one person was very upset about Mauritania being scrapped and wrote a letter of protest to the Canard Line about scrapping the Mauritania, saying that it should be sunk and essentially become an artificial reef. That would be, a more dignified death for such a grand lady as the Mauritania was. That person was President of the United States, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Imagine that. A president of the United States wanted to save the Mauritania, and unfortunately, he was unsuccessful. Steve, they want to add her to the USS Oriskany. Yes, that is correct, Steve. Yep. Okay. I mean, and I agree. I mentioned that story for just, to drive the point home that I agree. It's better for her to become an artificial reef than it would be to scrap her. But again, let's hope the Conservancy can pull through and save her. Welcome back, Max. So, guys, I'm going to go full screen. Matt, back neighbor wanted to borrow the weed trimmer. You are back just in time for us to get ready to wrap things up here. So I'm going to shut down that footage. And guys, we're going to We're going to end this week's stream in a similar way to how we started this week's stream. Guys, here is the current progress of my Britannic. And I've not shown her in a while, but here we go. And I keep the masking tape on the bottom of the hull because when you're constantly moving the thing around, eventually it starts scraping the paint off of the bottom of the hull. So by keeping the masking tape on, it doesn't scratch the paint off the hull. But you can see here, there we go, the entire forward section, the forecastle, the forward well deck, this is all complete. The mast is on. I don't know if you can see the rigging in the camera, but the rigging is on. Back here on the stern section is mostly complete. You can see I've got, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's some string there. That's going to be the rigging for the stern section's mast. This part is all complete. You'll notice that the roof, the second level of the poop deck is not installed, nor is the docking bridge. Those pieces are complete, but I'm waiting till later on in the build to install them because they're very fragile pieces. I don't want the thing to, topple over or I accidentally hit them and they break. So I'm waiting till much later to install that. And you'll see I have not put on the propellers yet either for the exact same reason. But there she is. Let's see how close I can get. Let's do this right there. Yeah, there we go. Right there. 433. She's about halfway done. Max says, nice, looking good. Thanks, Max. Thanks, Mark. Steve says, I'm so glad we had this time together. A la Carol Burnett. I was watching some old Carol Burnett clips a few days ago, Steve. Aaron asked, do you airbrush or use brushes? I perfect real paint and air. I use a combination of 3 different things, Aaron. For extremely small pieces like this, if you notice, you look at the loading cranes, the little section that's painted black. I'll hand paint those just because it's easier to do. The white on the hull and the red on the hull, I spray painted that using spray cans, or as the people in my modeling club, local modeling club, like to call it, rattle cans. The green stripe is airbrushed. The whole stripe is airbrushed. I hand painted the crosses onto the hull. Let's see. Mark, I watch Johnny Carson every night at 10. Wow. Wolfback, what did I miss? Wolf, I'm just showing everyone the Britannic, but I'll show you something else real quick. Let's see. Kid here, this is I did something a bit different here. Kid, with the exception of the red and the black, this way. Yeah, there we go. I'll get it. With the exception of everything except for the black, everything on Kid is airbrushed. And I prefer airbrush to hand painting just because you don't get all the brush strokes. So when I first started, it was a matter of, before I had an airbrush, I used the spray cans. And so a lot of my stuff, my early models are spray painted with spray cans. But after I got the airbrush, for the most part, I'm mostly airbrushing. Mark, nice sweatshirt. Oh, yeah. There we go. How about that? Yeah. There we go. I thought I'd wear that tonight because looking at Milan's photos, and I knew I should be showing you guys my Britannic. So, guys, that's going to about wrap it up for this week. Our content schedule is as follows. Monday through Friday, all times are Central Time. And Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. is our random video short of the day. On Friday mornings, every Friday morning at 7 a.m. is our video of the week. And every Friday evening at 7 p.m. is our weekly 1 hour live stream. And that is the content schedule. Aaron says, nice to use whatever techniques work. Yes, absolutely, Aaron. Absolutely. Wolf says, bye. Good stream. Thanks, Wolf. Bye, Max. Yep. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out as always. You guys know I appreciate you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me. It means the world to me, that you guys come and just chill and have a good time with me. Steve, good stream. James, we will talk later for sure. Steve, I've got that project I know we've been talking about for a few months now. I really need to get on that. Let me know what your availability is in August, and we got to get something worked out so we can get on that. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. I appreciate you guys as always. And until the next time, you know the drill. Drive safely.